So I found these conspiracy theories that are so believable, they actually might be true. Number 1. Giants are real. Classicists that have studied Greek mythology and archaeologists both do believe that giants truly did exist. In 2013, people have discovered a giant's skeleton in Ecuador after a strong storm, but we can't really confirm the source of this image. However, footprints can be credible. A legitimate 1.3 meter long footprint that still exists till this date has been discovered in South Africa many years ago. Archaeologists believe that whatever made that footprint had to be over 13 feet tall. People are also questioning these ancient gigantic steps in Peru and the ancient huge doors in Turkey that are believed they could have been made for giants. Number 2. The bottom of the ocean is outer space. Now, before you come at me, I'm not saying that this is true, but many people do believe in this, and I don't know the truth. Some people believe that you can't get to the bottom of the ocean because the bottom is outer space. Now, in biblical cosmology, there is something known as the firmament. It's a very old belief in a division of the sea into upper and lower portions so that the dry land could appear. More than 9 ancient civilizations believed that the ocean and the stars above were linked inextricably. Some scientists have linked 2 major signs that could prove this. One being the unanswered questions about the missing ships and planes in the Bermuda Triangle, and 2, how black holes have been proven that they exist in the ocean. Could this be valid? I mean, we've only explored less than 20% of the ocean, right?
It's rumored that the world once had a continent that was bigger than Australia. It's said to have been flooded over by a worldwide cataclysm that happened over 12,000 years ago. Well, not completely flooded, as there are remnants of this lost land that humans still live on today. So both ancient Mayans and Indians were on opposite ends of the world and had zero communication with each other, have records of this huge landmass referred to as the continent of Mu or Lemuria in the Pacific Ocean, which had a population of over 60 million people. The existence of Mu would be a better explanation to how the Polynesian islands in the Pacific Ocean became populated, such as Hawaii, Fiji, and French Polynesia. Evidence of this sunken civilization could be evident in ruins such as Nam Madal, a complex of man-made isolated islands in the Pacific Ocean, built with massive stone blocks weighing up to 50 tons on top of a coral reef, the only ancient city in the world to do so. Mu was allegedly found right here in the Pacific Ocean and reached Hawaii in the north, as far as southeast as Easter Island and touching Micronesia in the west.
I mean, this could be a possibility, since Australia is surrounded by ocean.
What's a coincidence that you think about a lot? I'll go first.
I think a lot about the time that kid drove 200 miles to Buffalo to pew-pew a bunch of people in a grocery store because he was such a racist he had to drive all the way to Buffalo to do it. And one of those people turned out to be Aaron Salter Jr., an inventor who created the world's first water-powered car and was featured on the local news in Buffalo 2 months before the shooting. A man who created this world-changing revolutionary item, unalived by some random kid who drove 200 miles to do his crimes. I think about that a lot.
I was doing some research on the New York City subway stations. And it's interesting because they said that the subway stations were founded in 1904 and they opened in 1905. So they were found, that's what founded means, they were found in 1904 and they opened 1 year later. They didn't build them. They just took ownership of these tunnels that are deep underneath New York City. And it's interesting because when you look at all of these tunnels, you sit there and think, okay, you go up above on the street, you got horse and wagon and all this stuff roaming around, but you're building these massive tunnels cutting through the earth. Take a perfect example. Go outside, get a shovel, and see how far you can go in the earth. Especially in a time around the 1900s where it's very challenging to do that. There's no construction photos. There's just like 4 people standing in front of a tunnel saying that we built it. You would think if you did the first subway ever that people are blown away that they could go in, you'd have photos galore. But you only have 1 photo of 4 people standing in front of a tunnel saying that you found or founded the tunnels of New York City.
The pyramids of Egypt were not made by humans. You wouldn't believe me, would you? But listen to this, these ancient marvels that have stood the test of time, over 4,500 years old, and yet so perfect, so precise. It's hard to believe that they were built by humans without any of our modern technology. Some say it wasn't humans who built these pyramids, but aliens, extraterrestrials with advanced technology that we can't even comprehend. Sounds far-fetched? Maybe, but it's a theory that's out that gets even crazier. What if the pyramids were not tombs, but giant power plants? Imagine them harnessing the Earth's vibrations, generating and transmitting electricity, a technology lost to time perhaps, or could it be the Orion correlation theory? It suggests that the pyramids of Giza align with the stars in Orion's belt, a celestial map or a cosmic connection maybe. But here's where it gets tricky. Despite these thrilling theories, there's no solid proof. Most archaeologists believe in the ingenuity of human labor. But isn't it weird that these perfect structures, these ancient marvels, were built with such precision? Were the pyramids built by humans, aliens, or some unknown force? Now you might think him crazy, but what if?
It's crazy, fam.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein's island visitors. I don't even know if we should talk about this one. They leaked Jeffrey Epstein's list.
Bro, you know who I saw that on there? Donovan Mitchell. It was the most random shit ever.
A name like that being on there makes me think it's real.
Yeah.
That has to be real, fam.
Why out of everyone, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert?
Hold on, let me pull up the list. The list is kind of crazy
I feel like this is a big topic, but we've never talked about it.
because it's dangerous. First off, we have Celine Dion, Chris Tucker, and then you have like the popular ones, like the obvious, like Jay-Z.
Jay-Z's obvious?
Yeah, of course Jay-Z's obvious.
Really?
Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., Paris Hilton, that's kind of obvious. Gwen Stefani, James Franco, that's obvious. Jim Carrey, that's kind of wild.
But I feel like Jim Carrey, that's obvious too, because he was
trying to expose it.
expose it.
Jimmy Kimmel, obvious. Joe Biden.
Oh my god.
Joe Biden wants to, what the fuck?
No, I feel like that's obvious too. I feel like everyone who has power now has been in that.
He's talking about this.
Ooh, I like to talk about it. This is actually the conspiracy theory that got me started with all of these conspiracy theories. This is Walt Disney. He was born in December 5th, 1901 and died December 15th, 1966. He was 65 years old. Get into the conspiracy theory of Walt Disney is going to take me some time, but I'm going to give you some bullet points on it and you can do the research on your own. But if you was to Google Walt Disney being thawed out in December, this is what you will get. Weird that they will go out of the way to fact check this. But you Google it and a fact check will come up and it'll say claimed by social media users and it's false. Let me take you down a different type of road. This year marks Disney's 50th anniversary, ladies and gentlemen. In 1965, Walt Disney started working on a new project called the Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. But due to his heavy smoking, he got lung cancer and died. R.I.P. Disney's dying words were Kurt Russell.
Mark Zuckerberg, whenever he's in interviews, he always seems off.
Yeah.
So there's this one interview, and they asked him to take off his hoodie.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I can't. And he's sweating, bruh.
That's suspect.
This guy was dripping sweat.
Okay, you want to take off the hoodie?
There you go.
No, I never take off the
I know you don't. What's with that? There's a group of women in the audience that wish you would.
So they take off the hoodie.
stressing.
Look, he's like swiping his sweat.
Whoa.
Why is that serious?
He's stressing. He's stressing.
Why is it that serious, right?
I know. They take off a hoodie.
Now check this out. She ends up making him take it off. And this is what happens.
This is a great
So he
moment in
takes it off.
internet
This guy's
history.
sweating bricks. Look at
That is
it.
a
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Yeah, no, it's a thick hoodie. It's a company hoodie. We print our mission on the inside.
What? Oh, my
really?
god, the inside of the hoodie, everybody.
Look at his face. Look at his reaction.
is
He's
it?
trying to pull it back.
Making the...
Making the world
Look,
more
look, listen.
connected.
Oh my god, it's like a secret cult.
Yo, look at his face.
Making the world open and connected. Stream graph
Sweating.
platform and this weird symbol in the middle that is probably for the Illuminati.
Yo! And he pulls it. He
Oh,
pulls it
2000.
off.
No, it's
He's like, no, give me a...
Is he actually one of those lizards?
There's another Mandela effect.
Okay.
Sugar. Eating a lot of sugar. If you eat a lot of sugar, you're gonna get what?
You got diabetes?
No, you're gonna get hyper, right?
Oh, shit.
You're gonna get diabetes
Yeah.
too. But the common
Hyper.
thing is like, oh, if I eat a lot of sugar, I'm gonna get hyper. I'm gonna get a sugar rush.
Okay.
I'm gonna get a sugar rush, right?
yeah.
There's no such thing in science as a sugar rush in the human body.
Dead ass?
This is real. But everybody remembers there
Yeah.
being, you can get a sugar rush.
No, that's
This is
scientifically proven.
scientifically proven. So sugar, right? It does not make you hyper and it does not keep you up at night. But that's like the common preconcept, or that's what we all learned. That's what we all know. Like, if you eat sugar, you'll be up at night. If you eat sugar, you'll be hyper, right? So take this in. Table sugar has a glycemic index of 60, right? So that means it turns to straight sugar and gives you energy faster, right? But white bread has a glycemic index of 100. But we never heard of, if you eat bread, you're gonna get hyper. But bread would do it way faster than sugar would. So not only does this glycemic index exist, the whole idea of making you hyper and giving you energy spikes is not true.
I'll give you one guess who owns Hidden Valley Ranch. Honestly, the whole sauce aisle was full of surprises. So this game's pretty simple. We're gonna walk down the sauces aisle and we're gonna learn what corporations own all these different brands. We're looking for small, family-owned brands. This all started back in the cereal aisle when Nature's Path, the green part, was the only family-owned brand in the entire aisle of mega corporations, all owned by the same big money. Shout out to Panda Puffs, baby. Ready to get started? Who do you think owns Hidden Valley Ranch? That's right, they're making bleach and they're making ranch. So we look up who owns Clorox Company, and it's the big three investment managers, Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street. If you are majority owned by these guys or the other big money that you see at the top of all these lists, then you get colored in red. Okay, what's next? Wishbone salad dressing is owned by Unilever, and they're also owned by Vanguard and BlackRock. So this is how we're starting out, boys and girls. Next, we got some Winco generic stuff. And by now we've learned that the generic brands of all these stores are just manufactured by the same people that make all the name brands. So we'll just color the generic brands orange, because they ain't some local business or anything. Okay, moving down the aisle, picking up where we left off, we come to Kraft. And you may already know that Kraft Heinz is owned by the big three, but Berkshire Hathaway, i.e. Warren Buffett, owns the shit out of Kraft Heinz. That's one of his cash cows. So he is in charge there. In honor of Warren Buffett being his own brand of big money, we'll just let Wardy have his own purple color. There you go, Buffy boy. Okay, next we got a couple of little brands up top before we get to Ken's. California Pizza Kitchen's been passed around 100 times. Ain't nobody wanted it. It used to be Pepsi, then it was private equity. Brianna's is actually the Del Sol food company. Del Sol is Sabor Mex, and Sabor Mex is La Costeña, who we met in the chips aisle. Or shit, maybe it was the juice aisle, I forget. La Costeña is a giant Mexican corporation that owns a whole bunch of other corporations. So we'll go easy on them. We'll let California Pizza Kitchen just do its thing up there, and we'll let Brianna's keep their colors just the way they are too. But let's be real, neither of those are small family-run businesses. And that brings us to Ken's. Ken's has this huge section over here. They must be owned by some giant corporation. At least, that's what I would have thought. Turns out they're owned by members of the Crowley and Hanna families. And they were founded by Ken Hanna, and they're privately held. Shit. So we'll move down the aisle, and we'll leave this huge Ken section just how it is. That's badass. Way to go, Ken. Newman's Own? Yeah, still private, held by Newman's Own family. Good to go. What about this Bertelstein stuff, whatever it is down here? Sometimes your searches don't turn up what you're looking for. Like, this is not telling me ownership or anything, but I kept digging, and I found this on their website. And that led me to here. Gotcha. So, a little bit of red. Up top, we got Walden's Farms, owned by Panos Brands. Panos owned by HKW. HKW is private equity. And if you think that these guys give a shit about salad dressing, you would be mistaken. So we'll let private equity be kind of bright orange like that. It's not quite the same as the big money. It's their own thing. Oh, stat. Time to talk about Annie's All Natural Organics. You guys know who owns Annie's? About to break some little hearts. Yup. Annie's is owned by General Mills, and we already been knowing about General Mills. We met them back in the cereal aisle. So, sorry Annie's. I also took the liberty of coloring in all this Winco brand stuff over here. Up top we got Gerard's and Portlandia. Gerard's is a trip. It's owned by Heiko, and Heiko took some figuring out. But it was founded by a Kenyan multimillionaire named Chris Kirubi. He sold part of it to Tiger Brands at one point, and Tiger Brands eventually was like, fuck this, and sold it back to Chris. Now Chris Kirubi is the sole owner of Heiko. We'll be seeing them again too. And then we got Portlandia Foods, and they seem to be family owned and operated out of Portland, Oregon. All right, groovy. I guess we'll just leave those guys how they are. I don't really know about this Chris Heiko guy. All right, now for the mustard and the mayo, baby. So Grey Poupon might sound classy, but that's just Kraft Heinz. And we already know that Kraft Heinz is Berkshire Hathaway, so that's purple. French's is owned by McCormick, Spice Company, and McCormick's owned by our same homies. So here, we'll move down the aisle so we get a better view of all this. This is where we left off. I colored in some more of the Kraft Heinz stuff. And you know, upon looking into this mustard up top here, that would be Plochmans, which is also Hayco. I got to thinking maybe this Kenyan guy should get his own purple color too, kind of like Warren Buffett. Because I don't know how much he cares about making any mustard for us. But how about Beaver? Beaver's got a big section. Beaverton Foods, family owned for 4 generations, baby. That's legit. All this mustard up here, all of that, family owned. The rest is pretty easy. Best Foods mayonnaise is Unilever. Miracle Whip is Kraft Heinz. And so when we scooch on down the aisle and look at the mayonnaise, we're starting off like this. Kraft Heinz is purple, Winco brand is orange, and Unilever is red. Oh wait, actually it's more like that because Miracle Whip down there at the end is also Kraft Heinz. So now we got some Chosen Foods and a couple specialty sauces up top. Chosen Foods is private equity, and Louisiana Fish Fry Products down there at the very end is owned by Mid-Ocean Private Equity. So we fill in those 2 light orange sections down there, and there's our dressings. And it looks like we've got Ken's, family owned, and we've got Beaverton, family owned. And all the rest is pretty much big money.